Good evening and welcome to my weekly YouTube channel, The Abuse of Power, State and Legal, coming to you from Limerick on Friday the 22nd of August 2025. This is the ongoing issues with AIB loan 11876-020, and it's regarding the actions of Judge Colin Daly and regarding the issuance of leave he gave me to issue a witness summons, then dismissal of a summons, and then proceeding straight to hearing against my will. Okay, just a quick recap. This is a hearing on the 14th of July 2023. On the 11th of February 2022, Judge Colin Daly in open court gave me leave to issue a witness summons requesting the attendance of three AIB employees to appear before him in Limerick Circuit Civil Court to question the truthfulness of the content that these employees had supplied under sworn affidavit. 4 months later, on the 2nd of June 2022, Judge Colin Daly himself dismissed that witness summons that he gave leave to issue. He dismissed it in my absence. The reason he was able to dismiss it was because Limerick Court Office sent my notice to a wrong address. I had no way of knowing the hearing was on. It took a staggering 17 months to get Colin Daly back into court, to make him aware of what had happened, and that he had dismissed my witness summons on foot of an untruthful sworn affidavit, allegedly, that was filed by a Dublin-based law firm, joint with Crawford law firm, and a Limerick-based barrister, Anita Finucane. Before lunch on the 14th of July 2023, Judge Colin Daly dismissed my application reviewing his dismissal of the witness summons, and he rose and said he was proceeding straight to the substantive proceedings, which was the repossession proceedings at 2 p.m, which was after lunch. So we broke for lunch, we came back at 2 p.m. Judge Daly came back into the courtroom. The first thing Judge Daly said was that the hearing today will be presented by affidavits only, and it will be challenged by replying to affidavits. I stood up and I said to Judge Colin Daly, I said, I have no replying affidavits. He said, you had 4 years to hand them in. That's completely false. Where Colin Daly is getting these 4 years from is the County Registrar signed the order of possession in July 2019, and now Colin Daly was reviewing that order in July 2023. That's the 4-year window. When he said you had 4 years to hand your affidavits in, he's excluding a very important data point. It was in February 2022, which was 2 years and 7 months, Colin Daly gave me permission to request the attendance of the authors of the AIB affidavits to appear before him in the Limerick Circuit Civil Court. So once he gave me that permission, I didn't require sworn affidavits. I had witnesses. I was putting them into the witness box and I was getting them to read out the content of their affidavits. And I'd made a subject data access request to AIB, and I was going to cross-reference that with the audio recordings. So no, I didn't have 4 years to hand them in. There's 4 very important data points here. When Colin Daly went straight from reviewing the dismissal of the witness summons to hearing, it meant I had no advance notice of the hearing, so I had no time to prepare. I had no advance notice of the hearing. I had no replying to affidavits. I had no witnesses, and also I had no sight of the booklet of pleadings that was used against me. To put this in context, up to this point in time, there was approximately 23 adjournments. 23. The 23 adjournments came from, they were judicial adjournments, where the judge would grant an adjournment. Joint and Crawford law firm and Anita Finucane requested adjournments, and sometimes the County Registrar made adjournments, but I had none. So to put that in context, 23 adjournments for the plaintiffs and none for the defendant. Now that's a really big difference. And to repeat myself, I had no witnesses, no replying to affidavits, no sight of the booklet of pleadings that was used against me, and no sight of the hearing. But Judge Daly ploughed on with that full knowledge. When I had no witnesses replying affidavits, that created a one-sided hearing. Judge Daly asked the barrister for the other side, had the defendant, Mr. Hayes, had sight of the booklet of pleadings. The barrister responded, they only got mine a couple of days ago. Mr. Hayes is welcome to share. That seemed to trouble Colin Daly. He made a note in his diary. I stood up and asked Colin Daly a question. I said, was there any point in me having sight of the booklet of pleadings? Because I have no replying to affidavits and I have no witnesses to challenge what's in them, so it doesn't really matter what's in them. Judge Colin Daly didn't answer. Okay. Counsel for the bank read out some content from the booklet of pleadings that I've never seen. And at the end of that, the council finished, and Judge Daly asked me, would I like to add anything? Would I like to make a submission? So I stood up and I started reciting what happened in the County Registrar's Court 4 years earlier between Anita Finucane and the County Registrar, and how the original order of possession was signed. And just as I started explaining the wrongdoing, Judge Colin Daly cut across me. He said, hold on. He said, I'm here today. I'm examining the facts today for the first time. These are summary proceedings, as opposed to investigating what the County Registrar did. Colin Daly was hearing the facts for the first time. So Colin Daly was hearing the facts for the first time, as opposed to reinvestigating what the County Registrar did. So that really put an end to that one as well. So all the wrongdoing I had highlighted in the County Registrar's Court was now not being listened to. So Judge Colin Daly rose, and he went out to the courtroom for between 5 and 10 minutes, and he came back in. Colin Daly reaffirmed, he granted the order of possession again, or he upheld the order of the County Registrar. He read out some bits and pieces and said that he was satisfied, he was satisfied, he was satisfied, he was satisfied, and he was satisfied. He was satisfied on 5 occasions. I don't really know what he was satisfied of, but he'd made some very, very varying notes. And, just one little bit that I forgot to mention there. While I was reciting what happened in the County Registrar's Court, I said to Colin Daly that I had notified one of our locally publicly elected representatives. And Judge Daly became a local TV Judge Daly became a bit startled. And next thing he asked me, is your phone recording? I said, no, Judge, it's not. I said, would you like me to turn it off, please? So he kind of made reference to me having a good memory. Then he asked me to turn my phone off. He might have thought it was recording. So anyway, Judge Daly upheld the order of possession. The question that this raises is, was I subjected as a defendant to an abuse of procedure? 23 adjournments to one side, no adjournment for myself. No witnesses, no replying to affidavits, no sight of the booklet of pleadings, and no advance notice of the hearing. So was I subjected to an abuse of procedure? Was I subjected to an abuse of state power? Was Judge Daly impartial? Did he treat both sides fairly? And also, here's the big one. Did Judge Colin Daly predetermine this hearing? Because think of this, before lunch, Judge Colin Daly dismissed the application reviewing his dismissal of the witness summons. But prior to dismissal, he said on 4 occasions he was dealing with the substantive proceedings today. If he hadn't predetermined the dismissal of the witness summons application, can we infer that it had to be predetermined? Because otherwise, if he hadn't predetermined it, he wouldn't have been able to deal with the substantive proceedings. And he said on 4 occasions he was going ahead with the substantive proceedings. So, it's quite possible he did predetermine it. So that's a possibility. Right, this all happened in 2023. So the order of possession was granted, and I appealed that order of possession to the High Court. When I lodged my appeal to the High Court, that didn't put a stay on Judge Colin Daly's 4-month window. He put a 4-month window on the stay on the execution of the order of possession. So I had to make another application to Limerick Circuit Civil Court to extend that 4-month application to coincide with the High Court hearing. And we'll do that in the next episode next week. And it's Judge Colin Daly who appears again in that. So that will be the last sight of Colin Daly next week. That will be the end of him. The content in today's video has come from my sworn affidavit evidence, which was produced in the High Court. So all sides have had access to this content. And it's also come from, I made an allegation of misconduct to the Judicial Council regarding Judge Colin Daly. So Judge Colin Daly will have also have sight of this content. The Judicial Council responded and said, Section 53 of the Judicial Council Act 2019, they have no authority to investigate Colin Daly whatsoever once there's a remedy available in appeal to the High Court, which there was. And at the beginning of this video, this is episode 7 in this ongoing saga. Also, I contacted Patricia Ryan. I notified her about that there was an issue, And Patricia Ryan responded. She her role is purely administrative. She judges the subject only to the Constitution. And so you can ask the question that there are serious mortgage arrears on the account. So if there is wrongdoing here, maybe the mortgage arrears trump everything. That's the end of this week's video. I hope you like the content. If you do, you might consider giving it a thumbs up, and you might consider subscribing to the channel, and you'll get advance notice of any hearings that come along next week. And as I say, this is the Friday, 22nd of August, 2025. And thank you for listening, everybody.